Hello and welcome to a brand new special edition episode of Super Lady Hero Hour. I'm Yael Tygiel. I'm joined as always by Kay-B. Hello.
Hello, hello. Thanks, guys, for joining us for a super special episode to talk about Shang-Chi.
Yes.
I always feel like I'm pronouncing it wrong, but listen, I've listened to it a million times in my head. So, Shang-Chi. I just want to make sure I say it right for sure.
Every time I want to say it, I want to say it right, and then my mouth makes the wrong sound, and I say Shang-Chi every
So yes,
time.
I'm like conscious, especially because you know what I thought was smart, and we're gonna get into the film, but I thought it was smart for them to pick Sean as the American name to just get your
100%.
tongue used to saying Shang-Chi. Because I love that Katie makes fun of him and is like, so Shang, really? That's the name you chose? It's funny, but I know why they did it. And so, it's just like I'm glad that they did so that in my mind I get it right because my number one pet peeve is people mispronouncing names. And I say this because my birth name goes through the ringer all the time. So yes, it's my number one pet
Well, as someone whose name gets butchered daily, I have
peeve.
accepted
Yep,
it.
same.
So,
And every day
um,
I correct someone with
yeah.
spelling and in pronunciation every single day.
Well, before we jump in, let's consider this your spoiler warning because, well, we're going to talk about it, and it's been out, and you should go
A
see
week.
it. Yeah,
Yes.
it's been out a while.
It's
All
been a
right.
full week for you guys, so please just go see it and support. And if you have not supported, what are you waiting on? Because
Seriously.
it's a good film.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's jump into it. What did you think? What are your favorite moments? Tell me where we're at.
Yeah, so I really, really liked the film. I thought it was a good kind of origin story. I've heard a lot of people say that Sean, aka Shang-Chi, is kind of like the most background origin character of a film. Like I've seen that kind of going around in the sense that but I think that that's the point, right? Like he comes to America to be unassuming. I mean, that is literally the point. Like I want to run away from this destiny of the 10 rings and my father, and I'm just going to have a regular American life. And I'm just going to kind of do what I'm going to do, and I'm just going to live a life that's just good enough for me, that I enjoy, but that is starkly different from, kind of the level of trauma that I've endured from my father, the level of pain, the level of murder, the level of all the things. So I I thought that was the point. I really feel like if this were the second film in the series, I could understand being disappointed by that. But because this is the first, because this is the nature of his character, because literally the entire point of the film is for him to kind of step into who he was always destined to be. I'm fine with him being unassuming in the beginning, and it really felt like kind of his father's story in a lot of ways. Like Tony, I definitely think really stole the show in this film. But I think that the point is let's get a sense of who his father is, because you're getting a sense of who Shang-Chi does not want to be. And then it comes full circle. It's almost like a passing of the baton, but mostly a passing of the rings, to really symbolize him stepping into his own, but also making it his own. And so I thought the martial arts I thought were incredible. I thought it was so good. Like, I just thought this stunt choreography was incredible. Love the dragon. Also, I already love dragons. Michelle, ugh, adore her, like literally from top to bottom. So amazing. I thought that they gave a lot of these women characters a lot of agency to step into their own and be who they're supposed to be. So I love that his little sister kind of she channeled her pain into a business deal. And I was like, if nothing else, she is definitely her father's daughter. She was like, well, let me tell you how I'm going to take this pain and this child abuse, because technically he was an abusive father. I'm going to take this and I'm going to build an empire where I make mad money and I am on top. And I was like, well, I can't be mad. That girl loves to see it. And speaking of which, by the time we get to the final credit scene, and she basically decides not to disband her father's organization, but to keep running, I was like, if y'all didn't see this coming, honey, she's a businesswoman first and foremost, okay? And she sees an opportunity. And I knew, listen, it's all good and well that you have reconnected with your brother, but at the end of the day, this girl is like, I still want the empire that I was promised.
Mm-hmm.
And Papa is gone. And listen, he has the ring, so it's time for me to do what I need to do. So I definitely think she's probably going to be an adversary, in the second film. But I'm excited. Like, listen, I'm excited to see where it goes. Awkwafina. I was honestly kind of curious to see how this casting would play out, only because she's used to being heavily the comedic sidekick, like very heavily. So it is very interesting to see her as a romantic interest, right? Because I don't feel like we ever get to see her in that capacity. I do not watch her TV show, so I cannot speak for that. But I mean, in terms of films, generally speaking, she is like the comedic relief. Like even in, is it Ocean's 13? The one with the women? Is it Ocean's 13?
Ocean's 8.
Ocean's 8. Sorry. Thanks. Even in Ocean's 8, she's still like a goofball, right? Mm-hmm. Like in Ocean's 8, she's a goofball, Crazy Rich Asians, she's a super like comic reliefy person. So I wasn't sure how this was going to go. And she does have some comedic moments in this, but it was much more about Katie's journey and finding herself and her passion and her purpose, and less about the comedic timing. Like they play into it a little bit because they know that that's where her strengths lie.
Right.
But for the most part, it was mostly about her journey and finding herself. And then kind of semi-finding love along the way. Like, I kind of appreciate that it wasn't a huge love story. I think it was just, they're starting to consider it. Like, they're starting to be friends who think, oh, well, what if maybe, this friendship could deepen a little, but it's not like in your face, like we in love.
Okay, so I'm going to start with Awkwafina. Because I thought she did great in this. I was very impressed. Her character felt very real to me. Like, this is a child of immigrants who is like trying not to be part of her culture, which I get as a child of immigrants. And so she felt very real, and her going on this adventure of just like, I'm here for my friend and figuring out where things go. I found that very interesting. I see them as strictly platonic from top to bottom, like beginning to end, strictly platonic. And I ship her and his sister so hard. They would be, that is the ship that I want. That is the only ship that I want. And that, to me, that's the only thing that makes sense. He will meet someone else that we have not met.
Really? That's interesting. I did not, I mean, when he takes off his shirt and she's like, oh. And then when she does something and he's like, oh, I can't remember the exact scene, but he like, it's like, okay. I think they're giving them nuggets of being like, oh, but it's not like in your face quite
right.
yet. I think I see where they're headed long term, but
I would prefer that we take a detour because the scenes, every time Katie and his sister were in a scene together, we're helping each other, we're working together. I loved it. I was all about it. I believe in that chemistry right there. So I love that. I also, look, it's a Marvel movie. We know that the action's going to be great. We know the fight choreography is going to be fantastic. Like, was not let down. It was fantastic. I also loved, I like colorful. I think it was very colorful. I loved this magical place we went to. I love fun creatures. I literally almost bought myself a stuffed animal Morris. Like, I was very close. So
Morris, wait, you can? Oh my gosh, Morris is very cute. I think you should get it.
They're at Target, $10.
You should get it.
So you were so close to seeing one added to my bookshelf. But anyway, so what I think I really enjoyed a lot about the storytelling of this one is it reminded me of Captain Marvel in that you get bits and pieces of backstory as you go, and you learn more and more about what happened as the story continues. Like, we don't see growing up and now he's an adult. We see like how they met, and then later we see his childhood, and later we see how mom died, and then we see all of these bits and pieces. And I really like that storytelling. And it reminded me a lot, again, of Captain Marvel, where, we don't understand what happened until the end, where we put the story together. I will say this movie was long, and I felt it. Here's when I felt it. When I realized, oh, we still have to fight the demon. Like, literally, we've got two armies fighting each other. And then I was like, this is not the big battle. We still have to fight the demon. So it was a little bit long. That's all.
Listen, a friend of mine, also a critic, I will not call him out, always says there's no reason for a movie to be over 2 hours. He says this religiously. And sometimes I feel him on a cellular level when I'm watching something. Like, whoo, child, this says I have 1 more hour to go, and I swear I've been here for 2 already. With this, I will say I did not feel it as much because I was still really engaged. But I think the best part of the film for me was the story about grief. Mm-hmm. I think it was a very realistic story because you want his father to be a villain. He's really not, though, right?
Right.
He's actually just someone who has not dealt with the trauma of losing his wife and has not dealt with the grief of not only losing his wife, but in turn, losing the man that he used to be. And because of that, losing his children. So he never actually processed loss in the proper way.
Right.
And he's just dying to get back to her because he feels like when she died, he lost the good in him. Like the thing that was really tying him to be the man that she always told him that he could be. He's like, that is no more. So now I can just, be free to be corrupt and a killer and to do all these things. So I was like, the story about grief and forgiveness and family, I absolutely loved. I thought it was very realistic. I think that one of the most beautiful things in the entire film is when the kids go to Tello for the first time. They meet their aunt and she says, let's go see your mother. There's a part of the movie where Katie's mom says, moving on is an American thing. And I thought about it and she's right. It's very American to be like, this person died, you move on from it and you move ahead. But it's interesting that, her mom says that, and exactly what he's up against is the fact that his father cannot move on, and does not move on, but also does not want to move on. He still wants to hang on to that. And so it's very beautiful when, their aunt shows the memorial that they've created for their mother, and they just have it burning every day. And I guess kind of at this point, she's probably been dead for 15 years. I don't know. Time actually didn't really make sense to me in this movie.
Right.
Because at one point they were like, it's been 6 years. And I was like, are y'all trying to tell me that he's 24? Because I'm pretty sure y'all said earlier that Katie has known him for more than half of his life. So then I was like, so wouldn't he be in his 30s? But really, that was the one thing that I was like, I don't understand how old these people are.
They were trying to tell us he's 24. And I was like,
But Katie literally said, I've known you for more than half your life. But he went there when he was 15. So I was like, that wouldn't even make sense. Because how would she have known him for more than half? It's mathematically, we can't even do that. So I was like, what?
I know.
Okay. Yeah. I was like, well, I don't think that's right.
I also think, if I understood correctly, time moves differently in the Magic Land, Talo.
Yeah, because each of those people that you saw were at least 1,000 years old. But then his father was 10 times as old as them. Which also, I'm surprised no one else brought up. And by no one else, I mean Katie. Would she bet their dad? Because he's literally 10,000 years old. And no one said, how's your father 10,000 years old? No one's like.
I really do like that magic was established as real. Magic is real. And that was it. That was all you needed. Everything else is fine. Magic is real. Great.
But I don't think we needed to have that conversation again, right? Because I think, again, them timing it by us already having seen WandaVision. We already know magic is real. I don't mean for us. I don't mean for us. I mean for the people. Oh, the people who have not,
for
you mean the
Katie.
people, the characters. Right,
Yeah.
right. Yeah, like she doesn't question it. But I guess at this point she wouldn't though, right? Why would she? Because they're all post blip. So they've already seen what Strange can do. So they already know that he does magic. So that's why when they saw Wong, you remember like when they saw Wong, they were just like, oh hey, it's Wong. Like because they already know, because they've already seen it on the news and they already heard about it because of Thanos. So I kind of feel like, no, that makes sense that she wouldn't ask any questions. Because
I guess we live in a world where things are real and people still go, I don't believe that at all. So I expect some people to.
We do. You know, hardcore things like science. But anyway, I just feel like, I feel like the storyline actually was what drew me in the most. But, you know, I will say it was very much Tony's film, period. I mean, he killed it, literally killed. And I was just like kind of sad that we won't see him again. Or maybe we will, who knows, because there's magic. But I mean, think also that he was a compelling anti-hero.
Odin would die a bunch and we'd see him a bunch. So not really that weird.
Fathers and deaths in the MCU. Oh, we could talk so much about
Stark. Okay. I could just list all their dads.
Everyone's dad dies and then somehow returns.
Right.
And then dies again.
Going into this movie, I had no idea what it was about. I had no idea. I mean, I knew there were 10 rings. I knew they gave you powers. That's about it. So this was a really beautiful way to tell the story. I really enjoyed, like you said, the story was so engaging and interesting, and I was really drawn in. And then it was just beautiful. It was beautiful to watch.
Beautiful. The colors, it did remind me a lot, and I am, you know, kind of tired of, I don't think we need tons of comparisons, but the imagery when they're in Tello does remind me of when Black Panther's in the ancestral plane, like the use of colors and how like stunning it is. I just think that they're both visually gorgeous. Like,
that's just so interesting because I was thinking of Guardians of the Galaxy 2 when they're on Ego.
Yes, as well. I like that they have created these worlds that are so bright and colorful. That they each mean very different things. And I guess for me, I originally thought Black Panther on the ancestral plane when he's communicating with his father, because when they returned to Talo, they returned home as well. And it's just like a gorgeous scene. And to me, the parallels between family and kind of returning home to be who you were always destined to be, to kind of get that extra love, that extra power, that extra strength that you need to do that. That was the only time I really felt like a deep level of comparison that I was like, oh, that's really beautiful. Like a symmetry amongst them. So it also wildly made me super excited to see what Chloe does in the Eternals and the use of colors there, because there's so much, you know, possibility that can happen there. And I just keep thinking about that. Like, oh, you know, like I think it might be really visually stunning there too, as well, you know? So yeah, I'm super excited. But listen, I just want to know more. I will say one thing. At the end of the film, I wasn't entirely sure when we're gonna see Katie and Shang-Chi again. That's not clear to me.
Yeah. So, the fact that, so when he was brought in for that, in the post-credit scene, when Shang-Chi was brought into the conversation, and Katie came with, I was like, I love Katie, and yes, they need more women, but Katie's now.
So, I don't know I haven't read the comics, so I don't know technically if she becomes, you know, kind of a superhero her own right as an archer. I'm not entirely sure.
Right? Like, is she the new what's his name, Hawkeye?
No. But she may be someone, you know, I literally have no idea because I've not read this series at all. So I am curious to kind of see, because they are making it seem like they're a duo in a lot of ways. So I'm curious to kind of see what that will look like. I'm curious to see when they will announce. So they did just announce more films in 2024. And I am curious to see when this second film will hit. I mean, we know a second one will come. That's like not negotiable. But I don't know where we will see them in the meantime. So could we potentially see Shang-Chi and Spider-Man? Like, could we, potentially see Shang-Chi in Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness, especially with the Wong connection? Like, potentially. I mean, I feel like the door's probably open, but yeah, it's just not inherently clear kind of what will happen next. And so, in my little mind, I'm just thinking, okay, Captain Marvel's like, oh, I gotta go, something's happening. I'm like, is this where the Eternals picks up? Like, or she's like, oh, I have to leave.
Right.
I'm like, is something happening with the Eternals? Like, what, kind of, what is the flow that happens? Because really, we just have the Eternals and Spider-Man left for this year after What If wraps, because there are no more TV shows coming out this year, or are there?
Hawkeye, isn't the Hawkeye show?
It's this year? I thought it was in January, but I don't know. I could be wrong.
I'm looking it up right now.
Yeah, because I'm kind of confused on where the next TV show will land. I thought we were
November 24th.
Oh, okay. So it comes out right after the Eternals, like 2 weeks after the Eternals. So that's interesting. Okay. So yeah, I mean, I assume something in the Eternals happens.
Did you? We've lost you. Well, it seems we have lost Kay-B. In the meantime, we should. I could get into the segments we do here. I'm going to start with Performer of the Week. My pick for Performer is who is my pick for Performer? I think I'm going to go with. Oh, I don't know the actress's name, but I'm going to go with Shang-Chi's sister. That's who I'm going to go with. I think his sister was a surprising character that I was not expecting to love so much. And I think that she was fascinating and kicked ass, and I loved that. So my performer is Shang-Chi's sister, and I should pull up her name because it's rude not to. Let's see if I can even pronounce her name. I believe her name is Menjer Zhang. Could be butchering that. I do not know. Oh, you know what, though? I'm also going to give performer to Michelle Yeoh. Those are the two. Those are the two that really. Oh, and Tony was good, too. This is hard. Picking one performer is absolutely challenging. But hopefully Kay-B will be here and we'll narrow it down or add 3 more people. We'll find out. Let's see what's happening. All right.
Well. What a journey.
Well, do you have a performer of the week or of the movie?
Okay, first off, where did we leave off? Because wow, that was a journey. Love it.
Well, I've jumped us ahead to performer.
Perfect. Okay. Well, wait a minute. Before we do that, how are you rating it?
Oh, right. Good call. I'm rating it a kitten. I loved everything about it. I mean, even it's a little bit long. That's all. It was a little bit long, but it was great. That was my only complaint. What about you?
Yeah, I'm raining kittens. I enjoyed myself. It's a good time. Everyone keeps asking me where I rank it. I don't know. I haven't actually thought about the ranking. To be quite honest, there are now 50 million films, and can I rank them anymore? I don't know. I don't know. But I had a really good time. I like the music in it a lot. The colors are exceptional. I really
Right.
love the storyline. And while this was what I felt like definitely Tony's film in a lot of ways to pass the baton to his son, I am looking forward to seeing more Shang-Chi and more Katie and more of everyone, honestly. Like, give me more of everything. So, yes, Raining Kittens. All right. So, performer of the film. I don't know. Let me think about this. Who do you
All
have?
right. So I already said I gave it to the woman who played his sister, Mingzhi Zhang, sorry. But also Michelle Yeoh, but also Tony.
Okay.
Those were the three.
So I was like a three-peat is what we have there. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. So yes, I am going to say one. Fala Chen, who plays their mother.
Mm.
Yes, 100%. That opening scene was so beautiful where she meets their father. The choreography, the
Yes.
fighting, it was very romantic and like picturesque and amazing. So absolutely 100% love that. I would definitely say, yeah. Next, it would go to Menger Zhang, and I hope I apologize
We've
immediately.
both butchered it. We're good.
Yeah, we apologize. Her the sister, fantastic. I think her arc is really compelling, and I really like that. Michelle, always my queen, adore her. So absolutely. And then of course Tony, 10 times over. And you know what? I will say Simu, which I'm also probably mispronouncing. So please forgive me. I just think did an extraordinary job kind of coming out of the gate, into this insanity that is the MCU. I just think did a fantastic job in this origin story, and I think that he was charismatic. I think that he was funny. I think that he was bright. I think that the way he trained was amazing, and I really am looking forward to seeing how they utilize this character going forward. So, mostly we gave performer of the film to every performer.
I mean, neither of us gave it to Aquafina.
Well, I didn't think that she did a bad job in this. I truly didn't.
No, I know she did great, but everybody else did better.
I didn't, but I think that was the point, right? Like she was not supposed to be a trained martial. I am excited to see kind of what the evolution of Katie's character looks like because she is still learning, figuring out who she is, kind of growing in that regard. And so I am curious to see where it heads.
All right. Next up is style icon of the movie.
Oh, it's gonna go to Michelle. That first scene where we meet her in Talo, I love the outfit that she's wearing. I think it is gorgeous. Also, as an aside, when they are fighting and they have on the dragon scales in the red, everyone's outfits, I thought all of those were exceptional. Like, I loved that even in her death, their mother prepared for that moment for them to come home and had those suits prepared for him and his sister. I thought those looked incredible. So I'm gonna shout out, like, yeah, I just think that the wardrobe styling was actually really beautiful. And I love that, they kept everything very traditional in a lot of ways and in a lot of scenes. I thought it was stunning. So yeah, but I definitely loved Michelle's outfit when we first meet her in Tello. I thought it was beautiful. And then, you know what, when he is fighting, Michelle, when he's fighting his aunt and she's trying to teach him how to trust his instincts, learn who he is, and then trust his environment in order to use that kind of as a weapon. I think both of their outfits and how it flows with like the trees and the forest in the background, I thought was really stunning too.
I love those. Mine, I think, are the dragon scale outfits. I think those were definitely my favorites for all of them. And it's like such a nice way to marry the MCU style of
it was like East and West, like to marry the East and the West almost.
Yeah, it like had the traditional, but it also very much married that Marvel superhero costume. So I loved that. All right, and our WTF or OMG moment. Is there
feel
one?
I don't feel like I had one really. I don't really have one. You know, like I felt like I went in and just the way that the story was going, I knew his father would die. Like, you know what I mean? Like that was not like a moment for me where I was like, huh. I don't know. Yeah, I really didn't. I don't think I had one. I mean, I think
I
maybe
have
the
one.
first time. I think the first time I did see what was the Romanian guy's name? I don't remember his name, but the big buff Romanian guy with the machete for an
Oh,
arm.
Razor Fist. The
Yes.
actor
Now when
is Florian Montanu.
yeah, when the machete came out of his arm on that bus, I was like, oh, I definitely was surprised because at first I was like, what happened to his arm? And then all of a sudden it was like, boom. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, I wasn't expecting that, but that might have been the only
No,
one.
that's a good one. I think my moment is going to be Ben Kingsley's appearance.
What
I
a
think
way to bring Ben full circle from
I
Iron
think
Man.
yeah, because not only did he come back, I thought he would be back for like a scene for like a moment. I thought it was like a cameo, but no, he like stayed and then went
He's
with
a
them. So that was
character.
yeah, so that was I definitely think my moment. I will also say there's just a minor thing that I loved. I'm from San Francisco, so to see streets and routes make sense is like such an exciting moment. So the bus
Oh
to
my gosh.
understand where they were going and when they turned to be like, yes, that is where you would turn was wonderful.
Yeah, you know, one of my biggest things in the MCU is when they film in Atlanta. And I know it's Atlanta because I lived there for 10 years. And they don't change the signs, and they're supposed to be in New York, where
Right.
I also lived for 8 years. And I'm like, guys, like I've lived in both of these cities. So
Yeah.
I know that when you are here trying to convince me that this is Soho, and I'm like, this is Atlanta, guys,
Right.
period. And I see the street names because y'all did not edit them out. So like I am super happy for you that with
Thank
San
you.
Francisco, they at least got it correct because oftentimes I'm looking at these movies like, now guys,
Right.
guys, please, like we
Yeah.
are in Atlantic Station right now. Don't do that to me, like please, guys,
Yeah.
please.
It's a
So,
minor thing, but it was just wonderful.
well, you know what? I will say this. I've had that feeling once watching The Walking Dead because it is in Atlanta and they let you know that and they film there and I love it because they do not shy away from it. So I'm like, oh, it's very ATL in The Walking Dead. And it
Nice.
makes my heart smile that they get it right. So I'm so excited for you.
Thank
Yes.
you. Well, that is it for this episode of Super Lady Hero Hour discussing Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Look at that. By the end of our episode, I got the title right.
Yes, yes. And apologies again for any names that we butchered.
Yes.
100%.
We know what it's like, and we're sorry that it happened. Until our next episode, whenever that may be, KB, where are you at these days, and what can everyone check out?
Go ahead and just follow me on Twitter. That's at the Lady KB, TheLadyKyb, for more updates on interviews and roundtables that I'm a part of and anything else. And, also hopefully you can find me not in the dark with these crazy random power outages that we still have in Texas. So shout out to me using this light right now on my phone because we are in the middle of a power outage. So sorry that I disappeared for a second. But yeah, Super Lady Hero Hour will be back. We are just trying to figure out a structure and format because fall TV is coming like tomorrow, which yay, but also woo. So just follow us for updates on what is next. And so Yael, where can everyone find you?
I am everywhere on the internet at Yael Tygiel. That is YAELTYGIEL. You can find me on Sundays at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, talking about SVU on Law and Order S Review. You can also find me on Wednesdays over on the Hollywood Critics Association YouTube channel, talking about everything that's on TV and movies that are coming out on a show called Hollywood Approved with Kristen Maldonado. And if you checked out Leverage Redemption, you can watch the official Leverage Redemption after show, a very distinctive podcast on the Electric Now app. It is free to download on Apple products, Android products, and Roku. So check that out. That's it. That's where you can find me. I think that's
Awesome.
everything. And we'll see you next time, everybody.
Hi, thanks.